Hello and welcome to a special Flying Reporter episode where we catch up with Travis Ludlow and find out how his round the world record attempt is going. Travis, good evening to you, although I think it's morning where you are. Where are you exactly right now?
Good evening, John. It's actually 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and I woke up just about half an hour ago. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. Getting a hundred. I've used the opportunity to have a good sleep while my aircraft's getting a 100-hour check done here.
And you're back. You're back in the air tomorrow, are you?
I am, yeah, back in the air tomorrow. Heading to where am I heading to?
It's got to that stage, hasn't it, Travis? It's got to that stage. You don't know what day it is, what time zone you're in.
Yeah, I know the place. I know the place. I just I didn't. The name's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember it. Yeah,
love it.
It's been long.
So, yeah. Are you over halfway through now? Just about.
I am. I'm actually about 2/3 the way through now. So yeah, I've made very good progress in the time I've had. So it's going really well so far.
Is everything going to plan? I mean, you're ahead of schedule by the sounds of it then. Everything else going to plan? All the planning that you put into place, the accommodation, the handling, the aircraft, everything working as it planned to do?
Yeah, everything's working, perfectly. Nothing's gone wrong really. Everything's it's been pretty much as I planned it. It's been going well, and I'm super grateful for that. And it's allowed me to become ahead of schedule. And it's made it actually quite a bit easier than I thought it would be, because I thought I'd have problems at almost every place I had, but not at all. Yeah, it's been very well.
You sailed through Russia, and when we spoke, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, that was one of the areas you were worried about or had some caution about, but it all went smoothly.
It did, yeah. Russia went very smoothly. The weather was perfect the whole time. Every single day was VFR conditions pretty much. Air traffic control was really great. Really great to speak to them, and the people were so nice as well. So it really went very well, and great trip across Russia that was. Yeah.
And I've seen you sort of post on social media, trying to find somewhere to stay overnight, because I think you've obviously had lots of offers of help, and some of that's got lost in the mix. And what has the reception been along the way?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people offer me places to stay, and sometimes I actually had to reject it because sometimes I prefer just to get to a hotel and just sleep really. But I've had a lot of offers of help, and I've stayed with a lot of people, and really grateful for all the help that they've given me. And it's without these people offering me help, it would be so much more difficult. And so it's great to see. Yeah.
Let's talk about the flying then. And what's your longest leg been? I mean, you've been busting, I think, your endurance. I think you told me, how much endurance did you tell me you had? And you've been sort of doing really long legs, haven't you?
Yeah, so I got about technically 10 hours of endurance pretty much, but I never really push it that far. Because you're burning, because you're such a low power setting, the plane's going really slow, and so it's not fun. So I mean, the longest I do is probably 8.5 hours. That's the longest legs I've done. The longest leg was actually from Moscow to Yekaterinburg, Russia. No other legs have actually been that long. So that was the longest leg.
And what about the human endurance of that? What's that feeling like at the moment? Because I suspect until you started this journey that you're on right now, you didn't know what that was going to feel like.
Yeah, I didn't know. So when I started and I flew from the UK to the Netherlands, that was like 2.5 hour flight, and I was thinking, oh man, this is so long. This is really difficult. But now I think I wake up in the morning, it's like, oh great, it's only a 4 hour flight today. It's gonna be so easy. I'm really looking forward to it. So it's it's a lot. I don't know, I've like adapted to the long times in the plane, and so now it feels normal to just be up in the air for 4 hours. So yeah.
And is the cruise fairly straightforward? I'm going to come on to some maybe more difficult, challenging flights you've had? Because I've noticed some of those. But on the whole, has the cruise been fairly laid back and you've been able to just sort of sit back and let it happen?
Yeah, the cruise has been it's been super easy, because I'm flying IFR, so it's just handovers all the time. So I've got all my clearances in advance pretty much, and as well as that, I've got an autopilot, so I can. It's a lot easier having an autopilot. I would hate to hand fly 8 hours, so it's really great to have that. So actually, the cruise is very simple, and actually I could use that as kind of a little break.
Yeah, so we were talking before about the possibility of this time alone. You're 8 hours in the aeroplane, and then being in a strange room on your own as well overnight. And that being a possible challenge for you. So, from a sort of human emotion and endurance point of view, how has that been?
Yeah, so I think that's been the hardest part of this around the world trip is the loneliness kind of and so for example I remember I was flying over this Siberia, and there was nothing but just wilderness below me. I was out of radio contact range with air traffic control, so I was just completely alone, and I remember just feeling kind of down, because I'm by myself, got no one to talk to, nothing to do except monitor the planes working properly. And so that was really difficult. I was feeling a bit sad about that, but that's definitely the hardest part, like mentally, just the loneliness and being by yourself.
And not having your own bed to fall into at the end of the night as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all a bit, everything's just different and a bit alien. So yeah, it's that's very challenging.
Now, I alluded to the fact there have been a couple of challenging flights. I think I'm right in saying at least two that were very hard. Let's talk about icing first, because I think that was the first challenge you faced, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I had I was flying over the Rocky Mountains, trying to get from Ketchikan to Seattle. So Ketchikan, Alaska to Seattle. And I was I was looking at the forecast. So the icing base was at 9,000, and I was planning to cruise at 7,000. And so I get up to 7,000. It's going well, and then suddenly start getting some unforecasted icing, and it starts building up pretty bad. So because I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get through this any second. That'll be it. But yeah, so eventually I had to turn around and come back, and that was pretty difficult. The plane started to perform pretty bad, and I was definitely in there for I should have, what I should have done was, as soon as I saw ice building up, just turned around and go straight back, as you're trained to do. So that was challenging. But as well as that, I've had a few other experiences. Nothing as bad as that, but I wish the Cessna had de-icing on board. That would definitely be a lot easier. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, is that the first time in your whole sort of flying experience where you've been faced with the prospect of having to make that sort of difficult go decision? I mean, I know you will have faced lots of different weather and had to decide, am I going to fly today or am I not? But is that the first time in flight where you've had to sort of really, find yourself making very critical safety decisions like that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's definitely been the first time I've had to decide on choosing to turn around and head back, or choosing what to do. So that was a really good experience actually to do that. And I wish I had more experience on that before I could have left. So,
yeah, I mean, because a lot of people might say, I noticed in some of the comments of the video that we made before, some people were, on the whole, most people were hugely supportive and were behind you, but there were some that were thinking, this man's going to kill himself. He's 18, he's got no real flying experience.
Yeah.
And you must have had that too. And you're obviously going to learn a lot on this. I mean, there was another turn back moment, wasn't there, in the mountains, I think, where you found yourself facing mountain waves and you were descending, and that sounded pretty scary, if I'm honest with you.
Yes. So I was flying from Las Vegas to Montana, over the Rockies, and so the minimum safe altitude was 14,000 feet. And so there I am. I don't really want to go any higher because the plane doesn't perform too well at those altitudes. So I'm maintaining 14,000 feet, and it's, suddenly start experiencing mountain waves. So I'm descending, and full power. Obviously, don't have the engine power to maintain a climb or to even maintain straight and level. So I'm still descending. Without even requesting, because I'm IFR, and I don't even request to turn around. I just instantly turn around straight away, and halfway through my turn, I request to turn a 180. But and I'm glad I did that, because it's the aviate, navigate, communicate. That's the key to flying. So I aviated, and then I navigated and communicated last. So that was definitely very important.
I noted on your comments that you were in a position, and sometimes we are as I mean, I'm not trying to sort of sound like some experienced aviator. I'm not. Compared to yourself, you have so much more experience now than I do. But I noted your comments about not knowing what the terrain was below you, and you were making that turn, and you were getting low, and you weren't sure, were you safe, terrain safe? And I think would you say that scared you, that moment?
It did, yes. I was very scared. It kind of it rattled me a little bit, and I was a bit. When I came out of it, I was shaking a little bit. So that was definitely scary. And but I'm so grateful that I handled it well, and managed to get out of it. So
does it has that changed your perspective on the rest of the flying in any way, shape, or form? Because thinking of my own flying, and I've made in 7, 8, I can't remember how many years flying I've been doing now, and you make mistakes, and you take a knockback, and you build right back, and it's that sort of constant process of building your confidence, and then doing something silly and getting knocked back. With yourself, you're doing this all on one flight. I'm just wondering how that's changed, if anything, your approach to the rest of the flight at all.
Well, now I'm trying to steer clear of mountains as much as possible. So yes, and but that it made me more cautious about about the flying. I thought I could just take off and fly there, and it'll be okay. But that's now I'm looking at the terrain below me and thinking, okay, I gotta watch out for this, and I gotta make sure that the wind's blowing this direction, so that it could get mountain waves here. So it's definitely made me a lot more focused on the situation.
What's your most favorite leg so far?
Most favorite leg was actually probably from flying over Colorado. So heading from Phoenix to Rapid City, flying over Colorado. That the sights there are absolutely amazing. It wasn't mountains, but it was like these weird like shells of I don't even know, like the land just had like cuts in the ground. It was really cool, really great to see, and so many great photos. That's probably my favorite leg so far. It was great. Had a tailwind as well, so that was a really great flight.
I was talking to your dad earlier, and he said actually flying in the US has been a bit harder for you. I don't know if that's necessarily from a aviation point of view or from a logistical point of view than flying in the earlier legs of this journey, when we would traditionally see the US as being an easy an easy part of the flight. Is that true? And in what ways has it been harder?
So I mean, it's been harder as in, so the like the how do I put this? So the like planning and the flight plan filing and the actual like aviating is like easier, but the hardest part is the terrain is actually very difficult to fly in. So you got really high density altitude. So I actually departed from a 9,000 foot density altitude airport a few days ago. So obviously I looked at the calculations, the plane could do it, and it worked. It did it absolutely fine, no problem. So that's definitely been difficult, and it's just the harsh conditions that I've had to fly in that's been the most difficult, as well as that border control has been those were kind of difficult. So I did an unplanned diversion into Canada because I was experiencing some extremely strong headwinds. And so I flew into Canada, filled out, head to the US, but I had to, because I now had to go through customs. So I arrived there, and then I parked at the wrong spot because there's no like official like parking. So I just parked where to general aviation parking. And so I'm getting out, unpacking, and this car comes out, like, border force car comes with all his lights on. The guy comes out and he's like, "You're gonna go to jail tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna take your license away." And so, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, what's up?" It's like, "I need you to come over here, park over here." So, and then eventually I told him I did an unplanned diversion into Canada, and he was like, "Oh, okay, man, no problem." So
they were really like the way you just spoke then. That's what they said to you.
Yeah, the guy threatened to take my license away and put me into border control jail for the night. So that's actually what he said to me. Yeah. Yeah, it was difficult.
So from a sort of immigration point of view, then, and terrain and weather, the US has been harder than the rest of the trip so far. And, yes. Well, I say the US, I mean North America.
Yeah. North America has definitely been the most challenging. And with thunderstorms as well. Here, the thunderstorms are huge. So those that's been difficult as well. Yeah.
I was joking with your dad earlier about let me say we are, what are we, 2 hours behind schedule on this interview, and he said, and I said, yes. Are you still trying to coax him out of bed? And you are having 2 days break now and trying to catch some rest. Can I ask about fatigue and whether you have noticed that having an impact on your flying?
I have a bit. I've a few times I was. That was one time in flying from a place in California to Vegas. While I was flying, suddenly felt really tired. And so I was worrying that because I was quite high. I was worrying it was hypoxia, so I put the oxygen in and stuff like that. And I felt really tired, and it was actually just because I was fatigued and decided not to fly for a while after that, just to have a break. And I'm very glad I did that because to save me. But I was definitely, that was probably the one of the most challenging. I mean, I felt like I was struggling to keep my eyes open, to be honest. That's how severe it got. So yeah, that was difficult.
Are you going to schedule some more breaks along the way now? Sort of in light of that, because it's going to get harder, isn't it? This last bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to schedule a lot more breaks, and I'm ahead of schedule, so I can afford to do that. So
is that why you're ahead of schedule? Have you found yourself pushing yourself to sort of rush through?
Yeah, I've been because the original plan was for me to fly about 4 to 5 hours a day, but I find like that 4 to 5 hours, it means I can wake up late in the morning and arrive like early in the afternoon. So I can. That's so much of the day I can actually be flying, and I find these 4-hour legs for one day is too easy for me. So that's hence why I've been doing double that, pretty much 8-hour flights. I mean, they're not 8-hour flights. I mean, I do a fuel stop, so 4 hours stop, 4 hours. But I find that that's like the perfect amount, and that's why I'm ahead of schedule. But obviously, that causes sometimes me to get if I need a push to go somewhere, then that makes me a bit tired. So, but it's actually been this story of the California to California to Vegas. The reason I was so tired is because I had to wake up early in the morning for news interviews. So most of the time when I'm tired is because I'm waking up early to do actually some media, which is that's what causes it. Yeah.
How is the plane performing? It's in for its 100-hour check at the moment. So any niggles with that?
Not at all. Yeah, it's getting its 100-hour check right now. And when I pulled up at the workshop, the guy took the cowling off straight away, and he looks at it and went, "Wow, this plane does not look like you've just flown it halfway around the world." So he was like, "Oh, the turbocharger isn't leaking. There's no oil on anywhere. Everything's looked brand new." So he was really impressed in the condition of the engine, and I think it's good because I've been running the engine every day, which is good for airplane engines. Low power settings, so it's been running just low, cruising, and just been very good for the engine. So they've just completed the 100-hour check, and no issues at all. So that's really good to hear. Yeah.
And I understand the route has been evolving as well, hasn't it? And I was talking to your dad about the world record and how maybe the goalposts had changed a little bit. So what's the route looking like for the rest of the trip now?
Yeah, so the original route was for me to actually fly through South America and cross the equator at Ecuador, because the goalpost changed to me having to essentially one of the things, cross the equator, or visit more continents. And so but because of situations and the weather over there, I decided not to go to South America. And so instead now I'm actually, because my official end point for the Iran trip is the Netherlands. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cross the North Atlantic, then go to Scotland, Scotland, then the UK, and continue south through to Spain, then to Morocco, just to say I touched another continent, which is Africa, then come up to France, then back to the Netherlands. So that's the route now.
Okay. And what main challenges do you see ahead now?
The main challenges I think was now just the crossing the North Atlantic. That's going to be challenging flying, and scary again, being over the water for 6 hours. The leg from Iceland to Wick, Scotland. That's actually like one of the most dangerous flights, because you're over water for so long with the North Atlantic. So that's going to be challenging. I think that after that, it's I'll be on the home stretch pretty much. So, yeah.
And has your plan, you set out as crew, which supposedly kept you clear of any kind of COVID rules that meant you had to isolate places, has that all gone to plan? Have there been any niggles with COVID?
Yeah, that has all gone to plan in every country except for the unplanned diversion into Canada. But I think that's also because I didn't notify them of my arrival, but because they said that I didn't count as an actual crew member. So they essentially had to kick me out of the country, which it didn't matter to me at that point. So that's the only difficulty I've had, but it wasn't a difficulty. It just meant I had to wait for 3 hours while they confirmed that they could reject me from entering Canada. So yeah.
And I understand it, obviously the rules here are still evolving, and we're not going to be out of lockdown when you come back. So you're going to come back to a welcoming party, but you're going to have to go straight into isolation. You can't go anywhere near us.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a bit of a sort of, damp squib, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's going to be challenging. I want to see my girlfriend, and want to say hi to all my mates, and gonna have to self-isolate. But that's just, you got to do what you got to do. So to make sure you're safe, and you're keeping the country safe. So it's I'm not too I don't really mind about that much, really.
Good. Well, look, thanks for talking to me. I hope you have a nice day today, and get going again tomorrow. And we look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you very much, Travis.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you.
And thanks to you for watching as well. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the like button if you liked the video.